Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have some more car booty this week. First one here, not a very exciting thing, but basically the guy had this on his stand. I wandered over, was having a quick look, and he said €10. And I thought, well, I want to see what's inside it, to be honest. Something rattling in here. And he said, 8, take it. So I thought, €8, I'll just take it. And that's what happened. So, Asus. Yeah, the case is branded Asus. It says it's an AMD processor in this thing. Radeon graphics, AMD A8. Okay. And we have a sticker on the side of it as well. So this is fairly old, I think. AMD, well, let's zoom down and you can see. Save me reading it out. Yeah. That lot. I don't think this is a complete machine, but yeah, let's have a look what's inside it. Now I have chance. I didn't have chance at the market, but it was €8. What I can say is there's something missing at the back of it, which I'd say is at least the graphics card. Yeah, the graphics card in there. So that's one thing we don't have. There's also a sticker in the bottom corner which says Windows 8, so that gives us an idea of the age of this machine. Question is it worth €8? Yeah, let's have a look. I tried looking down through here to see what is and isn't in this, but I can't see very well in the sunlight. But now I can see in the not bright sunlight, so there's actually no CPU on this, so probably shouldn't have bought it. Okay. It was too bright on the day at the market to see anything. So basically all we have is a motherboard. And I don't think I even have a CPU I can test this with. Not a Wi-Fi adapter. What was rattling around is the power supply connections. So, well, the problem here is I do not have one of these like 8 CPUs. Yeah, I don't have the CPU for this. I'll have a quick look on the net just to see, A, is this motherboard worth anything even if it does work? There's no CMOS. No RAM, nothing really. And B, I can look up to see what CPUs this does take on the off chance I might have something that fits in it. Yeah, well, as is fairly common, we can see some for sale on eBay. FM2 Plus is the slot, okay. FM2 or FM2 Plus processor. I'm still not sure I have anything that will fit in here. There's a few for sale and they're all asking sort of 40 something or other, but the point is really, because that's what people are asking for them, is that what people are getting for them. Yeah, so let's go to advanced and then sold items and search. Well, yeah, that had a processor though. Okay, one sold £24, 18 postage, and the one sold for 25. Yeah. So yeah, they sell for more than the €8 I paid for it. That's the first thing we can say. So I need to have a look to see which CPUs this will actually take. Well, I think it is actually that one. Mine has some slightly different letters after it, so we'll just have to see. Okay. I definitely have no A4 processors, that's for sure. I have no A6 processors, that's also for sure. Or A8. I may have an A6 actually. Okay, A10. Athlon X2. I might have something that will fit in here. Let me have a look. Well, I have the motherboard. I found an A6 5 something processor, 5400. Apparently that is compatible. It certainly fits in the slot. That's probably a good sign. Yeah, it'll go in the socket. We just have this thing still attached to it. I've put a bit of RAM on, 4 gig, a couple of 2 gig strips. Let's see what this does. So we're ready to go. It powers on, it gets control of the fan. So this is likely to work. Yeah, there we go. It's seeing both RAM strips, looks like that's probably a good one. Yeah, going to the BIOS, but remember there was no CMOS battery on it before. I don't have a keyboard or a mouse attached, but this looks like a good motherboard. So I guess there probably is a bit of profit in it. It wasn't that interesting. Good idea of what you shouldn't buy really, but for €8, well, you know, I was basically tempted. So that was a quick one to look at. I guess I could just attach my known good drivers if I'll actually boot into Windows 10, just to give it a better test. Well, I'll press F1, let's just go into the BIOS, let it do whatever. I'll just tell it to load the defaults and that's it, basically. So, default, okay. And we'll just restart it, exit, save, okay. So it says I've made no changes anyway, never mind. And it's loading Windows. And there we go, loading my test SSD. So this is a good one, unless there's something obscure wrong with it. There is some profit in it, so I suppose for €8 it was fair enough. I've got some older machines, so let's have a look at one of those. So this is definitely a much older machine. I think this might be an AT machine actually. Yeah, you can see it there. So sometimes it's hard to tell from the button. It's actually jammed. Oh, it comes back out if you thump it. Okay. Well, it looks like an AT machine because it has an AT keyboard connector, but this is like an ATX blanking plate. Quite a few cards in there, some sort of graphics card, a sound card. Rather rusty, but we'll have a look. Okay, so that's what we have. Being like this, it might be an early Pentium 1 or something. I'd surprise myself if it was a 486. Of course, it could always be some sort of AMD machine. There are stickers on that say 21049, whatever that's supposed to mean. 21049 everywhere, like kind of warranty seal stickers. There's only 2 screws holding the top on. Okay. Right, this is a USB. So I'm sure this must be a Pentium machine. Just an early one. Let's have a look. Yep, it's what I thought it was. Actually, it's probably a bit later than I thought it was because this looks like a Pentium 2. We can see what we have here, I think. We have ATX power supply, but also AT power connector. You've seen this before. PC100 BXL motherboard. Graphics card is a Trident. 1 strip of RAM and P2, I'm guessing, processor in there. Maybe a P3. Couple of ISA slots in there. So I think with this one, particularly because there's quite a bit of corrosion on the back of it, is I'm going to take this all apart. We can get everything onto the bench and we can have a look to see what condition it is in. I have the motherboard here and it's looking pretty good actually, so we can just have a quick look around it. No real problems on the board itself. There's the BIOS chip. Okay, we have the ISA slots, looking pretty clean actually. 3 PCI, 1 AGP. There's 1 RAM in one of the 3 slots. The processor is actually a Celeron, okay, 1998. So this is some 25 years old, yeah. All the brackets fit onto here. So this is really like an AT motherboard. It has an AT keyboard connector. It actually has the AT power connector as well as the ATX. Even though it's 25 years old, the ATX is still the same to anyway that we had until we had the 24, yeah, so it's nothing different really. So this is how the old AT motherboards used to be after we had the onboard I/O rather than the separate I/O card. So you can see the actual corrosion is really on these metal brackets rather than on the connectors. I mean, it's a little bit messy, but it's not bad. Serial ports. This is the USB, and then we have a keyboard, I think, or mouse as one of these, it would say, but it's corroded. The other one says IR, infrared. I remember these being on these, but I never actually saw a remote controller, if that's what it was for, actually, even back in the day. They're a bit corroded in there, but not so bad. Again, it's the bracket, which is the worst, and then we have this. So this is for the sound card, so it doesn't have a separate sound card. This is on the board. Again, the brackets. So, I mean, you could take these metal brackets off these. You could sand them down, basically, clean all the corrosion off, and then just put them back on, and they would look much better. Graphics card is a Trident 3D Image 9750. Much the same. You could take the bracket off and sand it down if you wanted to clean it up. A little bit dusty, but everything looks pretty much okay. No corrosion as such. Let's power this up and see if this actually works. I mean, in my experience, generally these things do work, but of course, now I've said that, I've probably put the kiss of death on it, but let's have a look. Power supply on. It doesn't start. Switch the mains on. Okay, mains on. Let's see. Does start. Okay. No bleeps yet. Nothing on the monitor yet. No blue light. Just make sure I'm on the correct input, yes, VGA. Okay, so nothing much happening there. Let's take the graphics card out. Let's take the RAM out. And let's see if we can get any bleeps out of this. No. Okay. I noticed the power connector was a bit stiff when I plugged it in, but it's okay. I've just had a look at it. Oh, interesting. I'll get the PCI analyzer card, see whether it does anything. Okay, go again. Well, it lights up but just says all zeros, but it may be that this won't work in all the slots and it may not work at all. Maybe I need to put an ISA analyzer card in. Let's try another slot. FF this time. Let's go back to that first slot. Yeah, reads FF rather than all zero. So, I do have an ISA analyzer card. I'm not totally sure this works. Says PC backside on it, backside. Oh, I see. So this would sort of go in either way round, and it actually goes in the opposite way. So PC backside. That means I'll have to turn the board around so you guys can see the display. Well, here it is. Power on. And it starts, but just doesn't display anything. Okay. Try again. Same. try in there. Starts but doesn't display anything. I have a feeling that this wasn't working last time I tried it. Maybe I should just get another one. Maybe if I put it in the PCI, let's see if it works that way. That'll give us a good idea if this is working. Okay. Oh! That gave us a code. Not sure what that means, D4, but it gave us a code. Let's go again. D3, D1, D3. It's doing something then with this, but not with the other one. That's interesting. Try another slot. Okay. Nothing in that slot, so the slot behaves differently. This one. Looks like the codes are being sent to this first slot. Or third slot, depending which end you want to count from. No, this is kind of intermittent. Right. I'll try just resetting the CPU. Okay, so it's out. You can see these things. They look a little bit like a AGP slot. You know, with like the double layer of pins there. I'll give this a clean with a bit of ISO. I'll also clean inside the slot with a bit of ISO. And let's see if that helps. I've cleaned the slot and reseated the CPU. So let's see what it does now. Switch on. D3, D1, D4, D3. So, is it doing that reliably now? Let's have a look. We'll take it back out. We'll put it back in. Yeah. So it's doing that what looks like reliably now. Let's try this one again, because this was giving all zeros. I couldn't get anything else out of it. So let's see what happens. So power on again. Ah, that's doing the same thing now. Apart from this saying D4, D4, they read the same. I think there's something strange about this one, why it gives a different reading on the two things. I think they might have done something to make it do that. Not quite sure. Yeah. Like it's telling you more than it really is, because this has 4 digits, but it's really just a 2-digit code. It just repeats it twice, and I honestly don't know why they did that really. Probably because people will pay more for a 4-digit one. Huh? Okay, so I wonder if that's a RAM problem. It's not bleeping. The wires are on the bleeper. That looks all right. So, let's put some RAM in and see if we get a different code. Oh, if you've noticed, this fell off, by the way. It's fine. It just unclipped from the board, so I've just left it off, and now it's easier to get the CPU in and out. So it was in the middle slot. Let's just try this end. Yeah. What's it do? Ah. And it's working. And now it bleeps. Okay. Let's put the graphics card in. So, with the graphics card this time. Continuing to boot. Blue light came on the monitor. Oh, and we got something. Yeah. 32 meg of RAM. Probably now looking for a hard drive. I was hoping to see a code at the bottom of the screen which would tell me what motherboard this is. Is it just going to say wait, or will it do something else? Well, after some time it's saying run setup F1. I don't have a keyboard on at the moment. We can see then, so this identifier here will tell us what this motherboard is. At least that's what I'm led to believe. I don't see a model. Is it this? Probably is this one. M726_V3.4. So that will be the motherboard. Who made it? Don't know. Probably PC Chips. It says PC100 on the heatsink on the North Bridge. Let's put the keyboard on. Let's put the hard drive on. So the hard drive, you can just see there, Medley 3210. This is a 3.2 gigabyte hard drive. Let's see if it will boot from it. So I've attached the hard drive, I've attached the keyboard. The hard drive, can you hear it? Ooh. Doesn't sound happy. Give it a bit of help. Okay, so the hard drive does not sound happy, but this is obviously working. Oh, it tried then. Give it a little bit of a bump. Let's just stand it vertically, see if that helps. No, we're not going to have any joy with this one, unfortunately. But we do have a good motherboard. Without being able to find the exact model, I mean, we do sort of know what it is. We can't get an exact value on this. We can have a look for that model we can see. But these are definitely worth some money. And the hard drive eventually just gave up. Boot disk failure. Let's just see if we can get into the BIOS. We probably can. Yep, there we are. You'll load optimal settings. It knows the hard drive's there, at least we can say that much. It doesn't know it's there. Yeah, you can see it, we know it's there at least. Okay, give it one more go. Okay. It's found it. But I don't hear the hard drive anymore. If that's a good or a bad thing, I'm not sure, but no, I don't think I hear anything from it. Okay. M726 version 3.4 and it can't boot. It says a slave drive, but the jumper is set to master. Okay. Well, you can buy these boards. There's one there, £48, another one 154, 41. So the price is kind of a bit of all over the place, yeah. 73. The real answer we know is, have any of them sold? Yeah. That's similar, so 67, 92. Okay. Those seem to be basically looking like mine. So, definitely got some value to it, this one. That's kind of what I expected, really. It just goes to show that these old motherboards are worth having. The graphics card, not really. I mean, you can see these have sold, so that's the sort of price you're going to get. This one, well, it looks a bit different to mine. Actually, the layout looks a bit different on all of them to mine, so it's worth somewhere in that region. And here is one more. It says on the front, Intel inside, Pentium 4. This one has the side missing, yeah, so you can see what's in there. Pentium 4 with AGP, socket 478. And there it is. I would say, and I'm sure you guys will agree, that these machines are the most common of all the retro machines I find. Okay. Has a 200GB SATA hard drive. AGP graphics card, I can see on the back says point of view. Okay, point of view. So we'll just take this out. Yeah. This one, SP7100. Not seen that particular one before. Okay, proceed. Not seen that brand actually. MX440, very common thing really. So not valuable. Unless for some reason somebody wants that brand, of course. You never know with retro stuff. Gigabyte 8 IPE 1000 MA. Definitely seen this motherboard or very similar before. So let's take this one apart. We can get the hard drive out, we can get the motherboard out, and then we can test it on the bench. And this one is exactly from that era where we get bad capacitors. Okay, you can see them down there. I've seen worse, but they're not particularly good. Most of them have bulged to some extent. The same applies to the ones over here. This one's been leaking. Another one there, one there. Okay. Much the same down here. So this pretty much needs all of the capacitors replacing. I'd be very interested to see if this one actually works, because there's quite a lot of work to do on the capacitors with it. Quite often you'll find these boards will actually boot up in this sort of condition, so I'm going to give that a try. I'm interested to know what CPU's in this, if it's one of the very elusive and valuable ones, in other words 3.4 gigahertz. So if it isn't, I'm going to actually try this. Okay, got the plastic frame off. This one might be stuck and come off with the heatsink. That's not unusual with these, so you need to be careful. I should now be able to lift this off here without much of a problem. Yeah, there it goes. Let's see what it is. Well, no, it's a very common 2.66, so that isn't of any value. We can stick that back in there. Let's just check first to see if we have any shorts on the VRM. If you guys watch the channel a lot, you see I had one recently with short circuit low side MOSFETs, almost certainly caused by bad capacitors. So the way to test this, we're on resistance range. We have the 12 volts coming in. We can measure this to ground, and the resistance is climbing up very high now, so that's fine. Other side will be ground. Okay, so the high side MOSFETs are okay. This goes to the tabs on these. Okay, the high side ones, probably that one as well, depends how they're laid out. So from this one you have the source, which will go to the tab of the other one, which will be the low side. Okay, on this board there's one high side and one low side on each phase. Sometimes there are two low sides, or even two high and two low. We have 1, 2, 3 phases. You can see 3 inductors. This is almost certainly just a filter on the 12 volts coming in. These capacitors will be on the 12 volts. So what we need to check also then is from here, low side drain or high side source, to ground. This is where I found a short on the other board. So I'm reading like about 8 ohms. That isn't a short, that's actually the CPU. Look, I'll show you. And you see the resistance climbing up now. So there's no shorts in there. Because of that, I'm happy enough to power this up, as I say. If I know the board actually boots or starts, then I have every confidence in just going around and changing all the capacitors on this one. I'll just put a little bit of fresh thermal paste on here, put the heatsink back on. Don't really need to clamp it in place just for this test. Okay. This board has no onboard VGA, so I'll have to put the graphics card in, or a graphics card in. I'll go the whole hog and let's just try the one that came with it. So everything's ready to go. We'll switch the power supply on. Does this start? Oh! Okay, I think we need to change some capacitors. Exploding capacitors, guys, yeah. Don't get that very often. Yeah. Well, I did say I was going to take a chance that it makes for some spectacular video at the very least. I'm sure I can look back at the recording and see which one it was. So, let's see if this thing's actually of any value. If it's like one of these motherboards that's worth about €40, given the amount of capacitors to change, I should probably just keep this on one side and do it if it becomes worth anything much more. But let's have a look. And then we can decide. Oh, okay, so this one is definitely one of the more valuable ones. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to have to recap this one, aren't I? And let's see what happens. So just looking back at the video, because I didn't really see where it was off shot in this area. I'm pretty sure that one blew up. And this is a 1000 microfarad, 6.3 volts. And that's the same type as all these other ones here that have blown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can see 9 bad ones. So I've got some of these capacitors. I'm going to change those 9. Now, they will be on a different voltage rail to these, which are on the V-Core. I don't have any of these, not the right size. These are 1500 at 6.3. I need to order some 15s and 800s, see if I can get them this size. The ones I have are physically too wide. So I'm going to replace these 9 and see if this will then actually power up. Well guys, I've replaced all those. Dirty work, as you can see, that's what happens. They can all go in the bin. I'll put the power supply back on in standby. I've also got the entire board in shot now in case anything else interesting happens. The last time I did this, what happened is on a different board, that some of the other capacitors of the same value, which actually physically look okay, then went pop. So you never know. I'll just put the heatsink on the processor. Power is on. Let's see what it does. Well, it doesn't go bang yet, but it doesn't start either, okay? Processor fan stuck? Yeah, completely seized up, this one. Does it switch off? No, yes. So chipset's probably working, but the fan I think is dead. Just pull that back in. And it's not starting, so this could be a problem with these capacitors down here, the ones I haven't changed. I think the best way to test that is if we take a few, like 2200 or 3300, and just stick them on the board, effectively in parallel with those. Yeah, maybe we can see if it will work. So once again, just to be sure, power is still on, start. Fan definitely not working, but it does spin. That's interesting. Very interesting. That fan isn't seized up. Connections look alright. It's a bit of something. Maybe there's a voltage rail down on here actually. Interesting. No, I mean the thing is powering up. I'm getting the lights on, so I'm assuming the supply rails are all there. Just not booting. Okay, let's see if we can do something with these other capacitors. As you can see, guys, I've just strapped some capacitors on there with long legs. Each one of these is a 3300. That gives me 9900. The original ones are a 7 at 1500 each, so that's 11,500. So he's had more, but really that should be okay to make the thing run at least. Yeah. Oops. So I'm going to power this up again and see if it starts. Okay. No, it's still on 0. The fan still isn't spinning. Let's measure a few voltages. So we'll start with the basic stuff. It's switched on, okay. Hopefully nothing's going to blow up this time. We have off the power supply 5 volts, 12 volts, 3.3, so they're all there. This I think is the RAM supply, or it could be down there. Let's have a quick look. 2.6, that's probably okay for the RAM. What's the V core? So we'll look on the junction of the MOSFETs. 1.59, so V core is up, RAM is up, everything is up, but it doesn't start. I mean, there may be some other voltages, but it doesn't start. Let's try the thermal camera. So first I'll go without the macro lens on, just to get a good overview of the board, see if something is warming up too much. Okay, power on. Oh, that's the end of the board there. I mean, there are a few things that are warm, but nothing's like, you know, totally lighting up. This is like 40 something degrees, I can see. That's fine. Well, that looks fine in the VRM. So I don't see anything that's getting particularly warm. Okay. Most likely it isn't coming out of reset, or it isn't clocking basically. We might as well take the RAM out. Okay. Let's go back to the analyzer you can see there. Okay, switch on. Still 0 on there. Maybe a dead CPU. I mean, we can try it. That is quite warm, so the CPU is getting warm, but we do know that it has V-core, so it is going to get warm. Okay, there's another processor, almost the same. It's a 2.53, practically the same frequency. I'm confident enough that will work on this board. I could go and look it up, but let's just try it. So switch on, and we still have 0, so it makes no difference. So it doesn't look like it's a CPU. Some corrosion around this SIO. Let's have a look. Well, there's a little bit of something there, but I don't think it's the problem. Nope, that is not the problem, I don't think. Let's switch it back on again. Is it going to start? No. Right, let me just check the voltage going to the CPU fan, because the fact that isn't spinning is a little bit suspicious. What have we got? 5 volts, 12 volts. I think that 5 volts should effectively go to 0 to start it, so it's like there's some incorrect level there. I think that's why the fan doesn't start. And that's controlled by the chipset. I doubt very much this is a BIOS problem, because it's not getting so far as to read the BIOS. I'm just going to take the analyzer out and put it into a different slot. I have seen some stupid things, and I've shown them on the channel on occasion, where effectively the analyzer stopped the board from booting on at least one occasion. Ah, and there you go. We've seen this before, guys. Yeah, we've seen this before. I don't know what causes that, but at least a couple of times I've shown that on the channel now. Let's put some RAM in it. I'm hoping it's the top slot. This says 1, 2, 3, 4 by the looks of it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll try one in slot 1. Try to get a good. No, it's not very good, that slot. All the dimmers. Something not very positive going in there. Okay, it's in now. Try that. Okay. Booting. So these RAM slots probably want a good clean as well. See if we actually get a picture. Okay. That's saying it can't see the graphics card. I'll put a known good one in. Okay. Okay, it's got that one. And we have a picture. Yeah, we have a picture. So it's working with the RAM in this slot. Let's try it in the other channel. This is very stiff. I think I'm going to give these a clean, to be quite honest. I don't like the way that's going in and out. Okay, so let's see. Fits in a little bit nicer now. Yeah, it's booted in that slot now. Okay. Picture. Booted, yeah, and that one as well. Picture. Third one. Yep. Picture. Let's see. You say there's always one, yeah. Let's see. Yep, booted in there. So in this case there wasn't one, so there isn't always one. Okay, so that is working then. All the slots are working. there could be some obscure fault on it still, but that all looks pretty good to me. So I think we can say we have another good one, just the graphics card didn't work. I can just give this a clean and just try it again. So I've just cleaned the terminals basically. Reset it a couple of times again. Try it. Okay, so it doesn't like the graphics card. Fair enough. It's not a valuable one, so I'm not really bothered about that, to be quite honest. So there we have it, guys. We have 3 out of 3. This one was a bit of work, but there you go. Now it's working. I've spotted another bad capacitor there which needs changing, and I will order some of the correct ones and fit 7 of the 1500s in there. But we have to say this does work. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that, guys. A little bit more fun hardware to play with, and I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learn Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.